Hello there. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are watching this zone billing webinar that we're putting on for you today. Really happy to see all of you. We're going to leave a few seconds more for people to come in and attend the event. So I'll just hold off for a moment here before we start, but get yourself comfortable, find yourself a drink or something for you to have a few moments with us so that we can explain to you who we are and what we do and how we can help. We'll be right with you. Alrighty, I think we have Mark here with me at the moment. And great. So we'll get started. Thank you everybody for jumping in and being patient with us. This is actually our first webinar from the Zone Billing EMEA side. So really excited to see you all and have you here with us to learn a little bit more about who we are. As an introduction, my name is Isaac Gonzalez. I am the Senior Account Executive here for Zone Billing under Zone & Co. We are currently located, at least the Zone Billing piece is located in Amsterdam, Netherlands. So really excited to be here with you all and offer this little seminar on who we are. Some more information about myself. I have a background in financial services and banking, and then came into software and fintech actually the last 5-6 years. And now really focusing on this really exciting piece of B2B business, which is subscription billing, contracts usage, right? Revenue management. And that's what we're here to talk to you all about. So without further ado, we'll get into who we are. And just for clarification, we go by a bunch of names. And as I go through this, I'll explain to you some of the pieces of how we are comprised with all the different departments within Zone & Co, which is the main company, and then Zone Billing, which is the subscription management billing powerhouse solution. So we'll go ahead and get straight into that. So as an overall perspective, who we are, what we're doing, in finance roles for businesses, it's actually very common for individuals in that space, for both finance and also the commercial piece in sales, to really have a lot of struggles with making their lives easier, avoiding manual processes. And so what we find, and what our history has been, that we've came from this need from the marketplace to really help with individuals who are NetSuite users, especially accountants, right? Any sort of professional in the space, consulting for NetSuite as a developer or systems admin, essentially offering a really well-rounded solution set for today's business needs that are evolving every day, and recently in the last few years, the need for recurring billing, complex, maybe bundling, usage-based billing, right? These are all things that come into play, and the perspective here is that we're here to support you step by step, and that's the part of the genesis of how we've came to be as a company. But to give you a little bit more information about who we are and what we're actually addressing, I wanted to cover some pieces about the different offerings we've just refreshed, actually now with the acquisition of Fast4 here in the Netherlands. So now when you see our name Zone & Co as the main company, there's a few other components that get thrown around, right? You have Oracle NetSuite, right? It's the main systems that we are working with and integrating into, and a lot of businesses are supporting their everyday workflow through that. Zone is born within this environment, Oracle NetSuite, right? There is no difference that you would experience in using a Zone product. And by a Zone product, what I mean is not only the billing subscription revenue management component through Zone Billing, which you see at the top here, but also through Zone Capture. So for invoice capture, right? Accounts payable automation, accounts payable approvals. If you're looking to take your gateway and connect with your ERP, Zone Payments is an awesome tool for that. And then you also have your bank reconciliation through Zone Reconcile. So all of these different names, just to be clear, represent one company, Zone & Co, through our offerings of billing, capture, approvals, payments, and reconciliation. So really a nice overall offering to someone on a finance seat looking to automate and improve their processes through these venues that we have here. And today, again, we're focusing on the Zone Billing as the main discussion that's for us here. So how does it all come together, right? Maybe you have an idea of what this does, how it works. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're working with NetSuite very closely. Maybe you're considering taking a look at offerings that could address some of the issues you could be experiencing. Most often, at least in my case, and Mark may comment on this, is that we see that a lot of companies interact with multiple systems that are siloed, or multiple tax requirements that are separated through just business entities, right? That could be located in different locations, and a lot of that can be very daunting as far as keeping up on who's billing, if it's automated, if it's not, if it's manual. Maybe some company or subsidiaries doing Excel as the main management process, right? And then maybe some other component is doing a more modern usage through a software that's maybe out there that's helping them out in some sort of other respect. The idea here is that we're offering a built for NetSuite solution that is encapsulated into your ERP. Again, we're hitting this really hard with the idea that it is Oracle NetSuite. It is the same system that you would use every day. It is nested inside as a module within your everyday login. And then you can see two components here that we have that we want to demonstrate as also compelling pieces of the offering to you as well. And that is that in addition to having the expanded capabilities of billing, and subscription and revenue management. You also will have the option to connect to a CPQ. Now, what CPQ? It could be anything that you name, right? It could be the most common names that come to mind for us are Salesforce CPQ, HubSpot, right? It depends on your experience and your needs, and it could adjust depending on what the conversation is. In addition to that, for usage-based interactions, there's also a compelling piece where we can take in proprietary information, which is really compelling for some use cases. But the idea here is to show you that overall, this fits really nicely into an existing workflow that you're currently entering into and working in every day that you're very familiar with and there's not much of a learning curve here as far as what we're offering to you as a client. All right, and then again, as I go along, feel free to punch in questions. We will capture them, and Mark and I will cover them towards the end, but I just want to make sure that you all are kind of engaging there and entering some of that information for us so that we can answer that for you. But this is the concept here, is that you have a really nice single place to log in, not multi-layered, multi-solution. It really makes it simple for a team to get in and use a sophisticated system within your NetSuite ERP. Okay. So what are the use cases that we see? This particular slide is demonstrating a lot of the conversations that I have in the market today, and a lot of the questions that I get with regard to how we can help a business expand on what they're currently doing today and what they can do in the future as they look to the next year and 2 years and beyond, right? And a lot of times, there are many solutions out there that can do some components of this, what this shows here. So most common, right, is fixed recurring one-time pay-as-you-go. Those are very simple use cases. But where it gets more complex is when you start to have inventory management with maybe some usage-based billing as a component, or maybe you have a need to quote term upsells, or maybe you have a need for renewal automation. That's a big question there. Always have someone asking, how do renewals work? How do we true up a contract? How do we merge maybe some information, right? These are all components where a lot of it's being done manually today. And these tiles can be kind of thought of as movable modules that you can compose into bundles, single offerings, right? It could be a 3-part offering with fixed one-time and pay-as-you-go, or tiered, right? The idea here is that any way that you want to bill, Zone Billing can help you with that offering. You have the option through an out-of-the-box solution, which is Zone Billing, to actually configure these different variations and any which way you can foresee that really makes sense for your business. And our job here is to really show you how that could happen and how we think about what the most common questions are in the space on what people are interested in. And today it typically tends to be volume based billing, and also some component of revenue recognition, the complexity of that added to that, and also some maybe inventory or fulfillment in some cases as an offering, right? So that's really what we want to stress, is that all of this is automated. It can be configured to a very complex degree of bundle, or very simple. The options are, fairly limitless, and we're really excited to show you how we think about this, and what the kind of conversations we're having with clients today. And then just the key takeaways for this conversation and what we're doing here as Zone Billing and as an offering to you. It's offering subscriptions and enabling you to have a complex offering to your clients, or with it, amongst other businesses that you're working with. And again, as you can see here, from initial purchase, upsell, downsell, change orders, right, cancellations, renewals, the whole life cycle of a subscription is covered. Again, native NetSuite, no integrations, no separate logins. You already have a knowledge base of how to enter and access this information, And it shouldn't be anything where you're having to spend more money or time with implementation or training to teach a team. It should just be something that is innately there for the team, and that's just expanding on some of these features as a complex offering within the workflow. Again, flexible because we're designed really to plug into many different types of technologies. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you have a CPQ, doesn't matter what CPQ, Salesforce, HubSpot, you name it. Those are the common names, but we are designed to help connect you to your preferred tech stack so that you can find success at the stage of growth that you're at. And we offer that consultation to you in many different ways, through either our own experience or through potentially a partner that may have some good expertise. But that's, the flexibility there really, really is compelling for businesses as they're looking at how to connect either existing systems or future systems into a zone billing environment. And then you're, again, like I mentioned just before on the tiles, the way that you bill, we essentially can accommodate for how you're thinking about. Just give us the proposition on what you're thinking about, how you're thinking about that. And we're happy to go through and talk through our consultation on what we commonly see and how we recommend that you approach those use cases. And then the big one, revenue automation, revenue recognition. As you get complex with those offerings, as you get more detailed in how you're configuring billing, you're going to want to have coverage on how revenue is recognized, and we're here to support that as well. So you're not looking to have another solution accommodate for NetSuite's needs for doing that revenue automation recognition. It's native. You're already leveraging all the technology there, and very excited to transfer this over to Mark, and he can pick up to hear from here to kind of show you a bit of what we're doing and some of what I covered at this introduction. But Mark, I'll open up to you and have you take over from here.
Great, thanks, Isaac. And if you want to just unshare and let me know when you can see my screen.
All right, you should be able to go. There you go.
All right, awesome. So good afternoon, everybody. Great to meet you. Thanks so much for joining today. Like you said, we're really excited to show you a little bit of the product, and please feel free to add any questions, comments in that chat box, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation today. So my name is Mark Hansen. I'm a solution consultant here at Zone. I've been at Zone for about a year, but like many people at Zone, I actually spent about 5 years at NetSuite directly as a solution consultant before moving to another billing solution for a few years before joining the team here. I'm based out of New York City. So great to meet everybody. And again, thanks for joining. So let's go ahead and picking up on the theme that we're 100% built within the walls of the NetSuite platform. Just start off on a dashboard here. And that's really the most important thing, is that you never have to leave our solution to do any of these things that we're going to talk about today. Really unifying not only billing, but with revenue recognition, your general ledger, and so on. We do this all within the NetSuite instance. And likewise, we allow you to visualize any of these things on a dashboard, just like you're used to today. So whether that's a Zone field, a NetSuite field, or a Zone record, or a NetSuite record, everything that we see today is completely configurable to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on with your billing. So for example, if we take a look on the left-hand side of the screen here, we can see a billing forecast, either at an aggregate level or in my portlet towards the center here on more of a customer by customer basis. You're also able to set reminders for anything that we go through today. So that's going to allow you to quickly drill down on things like open invoices, as we can see here. And then at the center of the screen, highlighting something that's more Zone specific. And what we allow you to do, a lot of our customers will allow their customers to have prepaid credits or prepay a certain amount and draw down from that balance. And this highlights how you can do things like see the percentage that they've consumed and really gives you some actionable insights as whether you want to reach out to that customer and see if they want to purchase another bucket of credits, bucket of hours, so on and so on. So really limitless here as far as what you can throw on the dashboard and have everything at your fingertips. All right, so let's start off on a customer record. I've got a few different customers that we've created for the demo today. And again, this is a standard customer record that you're used to. So we can see things like communication between customers, my sales information, so invoices, credit memos, sales orders. And then where we're really bringing in our automation is with this subscription subtab. So like Isaac said, this subscription, think of it like a contract. This can come from Salesforce, CPQ, HubSpot, CPQ, standard Sales Cloud, Oracle Big Machines. Really, the idea is that we're agnostic as far as what system this can come from, but the idea is that this is my one-stop shop for everything that I have with my customer, and this is really core for what Zone Billing does. And what this does is it replaces the inflexibility of a sales order with this subscription, and really allows me to manage my entire customer life cycle. Whether that's an upsell, a downsell, a date change, a renewal, like Isaac talked about. As my contract evolves, this becomes my single source of truth with my customers. So let's go ahead and open up one of these subscriptions here. Pretty straightforward layout. You can see that we've got a start and an end date for this subscription. Likewise, we've got a charge schedule. Now at the bottom, you can see that we can have one or multiple items as well. And those items can be any type of pricing model, any type of billing model. And over to the right-hand side, you can see that these can also have their own billing cadence. And we always like to say that any way that you can bill, we can too. We've built our system to be flexible, whether that's a one-time charge, a fixed recurring, a usage, a prepaid, a minimum commitment. We can fit all of those within the same subscription and put all of them on the same invoice, which is something that a lot of our customers come to us that they're struggling with today. So 3 different items that we'll be working with. You can see the first one's going to be a standard one-time fee. So we'll go ahead and open that up. And right away, we can see that, we're pulling directly from the NetSuite item master record. So things like your GL impact, your revenue recognition rules. If this was something that needed to be fulfilled, you'd have your fulfillment history. None of that changes. We're simply extending your functionality from here. And the first piece is with the rate type. So if I go ahead and open this up, you can see, this is a one-time charge. We'll talk about fixed recurring. We'll talk about usage. But you can also see that we can do things like add a prepaid item here, whether that's a single item that has a prepaid quantity that your customer's drawing down from that balance, or more of a prepaid subscription. So think a dollar value, multiple products, burning or drawing down from that dollar amount, or maybe a combination of each of these. But what we found is that with these 6 rate types, and then a lot of the things that you see on the screen, such as a minimum or a maximum charge, included units, a usage or an overage rate, we can really solve for any billing scenario with what we've developed. But in this case, going to be a pretty straightforward example. Customers paying $700. And they're being billed one time up front, and that's coming from this charge schedule right here. You'll also notice that we've got a link to a native NetSuite invoice record. So basically, we are the intermediate step from when information gets into the system. We use our rate type and our other functionality that we've built, but we are creating a native NetSuite invoice record that will be trackable and allow you to drill down from your subscription item, your subscription, your customer, etc., as well as flowing through into your revenue recognition. So this is something that, we could definitely spend quite a bit of time going through. So please feel free to reach out to Isaac or I if we want to have a deeper dive on things like revenue, things like renewals, adjustments. So think multi-level, ramp ups, discount changes, things like that. All right, so for my second item here, this is going to be more of a SaaS or a true subscription license. And you can see here that my rate type is going to be fixed recurring. So in this case, my customer is purchasing a quantity of 5 licenses, a rate of $100 dollars, euros, pounds here. My charge schedule is actually going to be quarterly, but they're paying on a monthly basis. So if we scroll down here into our charge schedule, we'll see everything above is now reflected below. Again, my native NetSuite invoice has been created because the idea here is that we've set up automation so that 99% of the demo today, no one actually needs to do in a real life situation. It's fully automated. Zone does the heavy lifting for you. We'll show you some of that automation here in just a sec. If we scroll over to the right, you can see my bill date. If we had a usage-based item, we'd have a rating date here as well, and we'll take a look at that. But hopefully highlighting the flexibility here to be able to do things like charge by the month, but actually bill on a quarterly schedule. If I open up my charge schedule, you can see a lot of the things that we've done for our different customers, whether that's a quarterly on an anniversary date or a calendar date, whether that's some sort of a monthly charge, maybe monthly on the 15th or the 20th, or we can even do things like every 28 days, every 30 days, or more of a monthly, plus 5 days. But again, really the possibilities are endless as far as how you can set this up to have this completely automated running in the background to meet your customers' needs. All right, and then the third item type that we'll go through is going to be a usage-based item. So again, if I drilled into this, this would be a non-inventory item where the other one could have been an inventory item. We're going to have a rate type as usage. And to start off, we've got a pretty standard setup here. So basically quantity times price is going to give us our usage rate. And I'm going to open up my automation screen as we go ahead and process this usage. Now, really what I'm doing here is simulating what this would look like if we were connected to another system. So we've developed an API that can connect to any homegrown proprietary system or otherwise to bring in this usage data on a schedule, perform any complex rating calculation that you may have. But for today's demo, just going to simply go ahead and do this by hand.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, yes.
So we have a few questions coming in. I just want to see if you don't mind if we throw them in really quickly. So I have one question here. Says, how does Zone Billing handle subscriptions tied to hardware requiring fulfillment?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Zone Billing, you can have either a non-inventory item or an inventory item. On the actual item itself, we have this customer hierarchy or preferences and a default for a transaction type. So if this was an inventory item and I pop this open, this would be set to sales order. So we can have multiple different items on the same subscription, some making sales orders before invoice, some going directly to invoice. And of course, if you need everything to go to a sales order, you can handle that too. But that's going to allow you to create an item fulfillment.
I'm not sure if I understand this next question, but I'll say it out loud and see if maybe you get it. It says here, why is the system the subscription master? Maybe that's maybe we need to retype that one, but I can move to another one.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand. Maybe
maybe
they're talking about a master contract.
Yeah, so CPQ or Zone Billing. So maybe he's asking who is the master in the CPQ?
Yeah, good question. So definitely we want to have that delineation between the sales system and the finance system. So if you're using something like a Salesforce CPQ, products and prices originate in that system, and we're simply, ingesting that information in and then handling those calculations, invoice creation, rating for you from there. But that should be the system of record for your pricing there. So hopefully that answers the question, but feel free to ask again if that's not what you meant.
Clarification, he says here, what system? He said it was a little typo. What system is a subscription master? So that would be the question he's proposing here.
Yep. Yeah, and I think my answer remains the same, is that if you have a contract or a subscription with something like a Salesforce CPQ, those are always going to be in sync, because we've built out integrations, whether that's with a Workato, Celigo, Dell Boomi, just as examples, to always keep those completely mirroring each other.
I have two more questions, and then we'll get back to the scheduled program here. How do prepaid rate types work?
Yeah, so let me just throw this into edit mode here. So we've got two different ways to handle this. So the first one would be a prepaid item quantity. That would basically be the customer paying a certain amount at a certain rate with some included units, and then drawing down from that amount. And then from there, we have the ability to do things like a prepaid offset, basically in the charge schedule below, excuse me, over here. That would show, the consumed quantity versus what they've already paid for. And then you have the ability with what we call a billing profile that we'll get to in a minute, to determine how do you want to display that to the customer. Do you want to show them, what they've used versus what's remaining, things like that. And then the other way to do that is with a prepaid subscription. So that's where a customer would prepay a dollar value for multiple products or multiple items. Those items could have, their own prices, different prices associated with them, draw down from that amount, and then all of these feed into, your revenue recognition as well. So typically the way that our customers handle that is they would recognize any remaining amount in the last month of the period, and then the actual usage as it occurs.
Perfect. We have a few more here, if you don't mind. Do amendments and renewals sync back to the CPQ?
So the amendments and renewals typically are originating in CPQ. So any contract amendment is going to flow over, whether that's an upsell, a downsell, a date change, a product swap, into our system. So they should, again, always be connected. Having said that, we've also built our platform knowing that a lot of information does need to go back to Salesforce and Salesforce CPQ as well. So our customers have typically a bilateral sync between systems for sure.
Perfect. Last question here, and then we can move on.
Sure.
When will we have an automation to use NetSuite price levels for one-time charge fixed recurring on subscription items when we are using NetSuite to create subscriptions?
Can you repeat that? It sounded like maybe a NetSuite specific question, but can I just hear that one more time?
Yeah, it might be. When will we have an automation to use NetSuite price levels for one-time charge fixed recurring on subscription items when we're using NetSuite?
Yeah, I definitely cannot speak to the NetSuite roadmap. But having said that, that is kind of one of the reasons that we developed Zone Billing, is that there was an appetite for some automation around subscription type items. Unfortunately, I can't fully answer that question, but definitely reach out to your account manager for that.
Perfect. That's it for now, and we'll go ahead and let you continue.
All right, excellent. So where we left off, I was just going through a standard usage-based item. So this is just going to be quantity times the price here that I've got for 75 cents. And like I said, we're really simulating what this would look like if we were connecting to another system, like 95% of our customers are, bringing in that quantity, looking at the date, what period it's on, maybe looking if we have a minimum or a maximum charge, if there's a prepaid element included here, and doing this rating calculation. I like to say that this button is really just a demo tool. In a live environment, you would never have to be clicking that button unless you were managing some sort of exception. And the way that we handle this is with this automation that we've created. So in this case, we're executing rating. We could create transactions. We could do both of these at the same time. We can do things like update our revenue details. We can define a frequency of how the interval that we want this to run. Do we want it once every 15 minutes, once a month, etc.? We can optionally define an end date. And then because we're built completely on the platform, we're able to do things like leverage saved searches throughout our product as well. So if you have certain customers, certain items that you want handled in a specific way, we can set this up to completely run in the background, do all that heavy lifting for you. And again, just be able to manage by exception here. But we'll see that this has now been rated pretty straightforward. We've got quantity of 550 multiplied by a rate of 75 cents for a total amount that will then be pending billing for our customer. But you might be thinking that you may do something like a discount schedule or a consumption schedule. And the way that we handle that is with what we call a price book. Because there's been some CPQ type questions in here, I do just want to clarify this is not the same as a price book within Salesforce CPQ. Think of this as either a discount schedule or a consumption schedule. So in this case, this is going to be a marginal type tiers. Basically, think of this as each of these different tiers are going to be either priced or discounted at a different amount. Of course, we could do this in more of a linear or a range type fashion where this entire 500 would be priced at the 65 cents. You can also do a fixed rate per tier. But I'll go ahead and rate this now. Added that price book. We've removed the flat price. And I've got this set up to be broken out by tier. But this all really comes down to preference for either your company or your customers. If you want to do things like show a blended rate here, of course, you can do that as well. But really, again, this is kind of just scratching the surface as far as what we can do. So happy to have more of a formal demo after this at any point if anyone would like. I think there's another question in the chat, Isaac. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read that out.
Next one is there any volume limits regarding usage?
So I think it would depend because definitely not the quantity, but there are limits to NetSuite when we get into Suite Cloud Plus licenses, the tier that you're on. So that would definitely warrant a more technical conversation. But really, it comes down to the fact that we are on the NetSuite platform. So if there's some sort of limitation with your system or you have heavy customization, that could be something that would need to be looked at. Typically do not run into that, but definitely would like to have the conversation just to cover all bases.
One more question here. How does Zone Billing handle custom billing schedules?
Yeah, so the custom billing schedule, what we call a charge schedule, is all done within here. So I opened that up before, and you can see that we can do weekly, monthly, sort of off schedules plus 5 days, every 28 days. We see all different types of billing schedules, and you can set that up to meet any of your needs.
Great, thank you.
All right, so that's it for now?
That's it for now.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually look at one of these invoices here. And before we do that, I want to open up this customer hierarchy and just highlight what we call a billing profile. So this is going to give you the flexibility as far as, how do we want to display this PDF to our customers? So in this case, we're actually going to be doing a consolidated invoice. And really what we like to highlight here is that as opposed to standard NetSuite, we're not bound by that rigid hierarchy that you may be used to with a parent-child relationship. I do have a parent-child relationship set up here today, but this can be any customer within your system. So as long as this is checked, you've got a bill to customer here. Even though we're working with this corporation out of New Orleans, we're billing to the parent. And then we've got a billing profile that's saying, how do we want this to actually look? So in this case, it's going to be a consolidation like we obviously just went through, but also to subtotal these out by subscriptions. If I open this up, you'll see a ton of different billing profiles. Do we want to combine line items together? So a good example of that is if you have bundles within CPQ and the customers have different line items that you want to keep separate for revenue recognition, but you just want to display one, single line to the customer. Do we want to separate, things out? Maybe do we have line items that go to different companies on the same subscription? Again, the possibilities are pretty much limitless there as far as setting these up as well. And like I said, all my billing charges are going to create a native NetSuite invoice here directly on the subscription item, and the customer record. And as we go ahead and open this here, we'll just show you what this looks like. So we can see that we've got 2 different subscriptions, 2 different customers, 2 different sets of items that they own on their contract, and each of them are now subtotaled on this native NetSuite invoice. This is one example of a PDF. You're free to customize these any way that you'd like, not just the PDF layout, but also the contents of what's in here. So a lot of our customers will come to us and say, that their customers are confused on their, prepaid bills or their usage based bills or any minimum commitments, just as examples. You're able to inject dynamic descriptions here, whether that's a NetSuite field or a zone field, and pull it directly on this PDF. So hopefully there's no confusion when your customers get their bills. All right, got about 15 minutes left here, so just wanted to show you what kind of a change order or an amendment would look like. So again, this is typically coming from another system. Sales rep gets a call from their customer. They want to do an upsell, a downsell, a date change, a product swap. And if I take a look at my billing charges here, not only do we see that an invoice has already been created that we saw, but we can see any changes that have been done to this contract as well, including proration. So we can do proration down to the day. So giving us that prorated amount that will be billed to the customer, but likewise, my co-termination as well. So making sure that at renewal time, customers always going to have all of the different products that they've purchased sent to them on that renewal. To just show you what the transaction creation process looks like, again, I'm going to go ahead and just do this by hand. But of course, this is one of those pieces that would be fully automated in a production environment. But here we can see all the different dimensions that you're used to in NetSuite, customer, subscription we're adding in, but department, class, location, subsidiary, et cetera. Even the ability to have a master contract. So if you wanted to have more of a consolidated contract or subscription, got a ton of different flexibilities there as well. And then we'll go ahead and check on our transaction. It's been created. And we'll now see that appear here on my subscription level. So again, similar to what we saw before, we'll go ahead and see multiple different item types, multiple customers, and based on that billing profile, having them subtotaled by those subscriptions. All right. Great. So we got about 15 minutes here left that was everything that I wanted to go through today. Really appreciate all the questions, but Isaac and I will hang out if there's anyone else that has any, and we can open up the demo account, show you anything that you need to see. But please feel free to reach out if you'd like a more tailored demo. Again, we see all different types of billing scenarios that we help our customers with, and would love to do a deeper dive with you. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. We do have a few questions here towards the end, so I'll go ahead and cover those. So for those of you who are interested, please hang in. The first question here that I see is we have partners who get a referral fee. Is there a way to calculate that but not show to the customer?
Yes, that's a great question. So let me just open that up here. So if I come into my subscription and into my customer hierarchy, this is really a billing profile question. So you can see that we've done a consolidation by subtotal here, but we've also got the ability to do things like combine charges. So if you had a line item that was purely a referral fee for a partner, for a reseller, maybe you wanted to split that out into an accounts payable transaction, you're able to combine multiple line items together, but then display that to one as the customer. And this kind of dovetails off what I said before as far as bundles. It works the same way. Multiple line items, one line displayed to the customer, but then having each of those separate for your revenue recognition. So hope that answers that question.
That sounded pretty good. The next here that I have up in the queue is, can you calculate bursting for prepaid usage?
Yes. Yeah, so let me go ahead and open up my subscription here. Yep, so the way that we would handle that, this would be a rate type of either prepaid item quantity or prepaid subscription. It would have a defined price as far as the usage, or excuse me, as far as the rates that this individual item has. But then you've got the ability to define what's the prepaid bursting rate, and additionally, what is what do you want that item to appear as on the invoice itself, and do you want any sort of description for that bursting item? So basically, once they've used up those credits, that would then change the price to whatever you set it at. So absolutely.
That's great. All right, we have two more. I think we've kind of spoken a little bit about this, at least hinted to some of these, but how does zone billing work with uplifts?
Yeah, so a lot of that's going to depend on how your system is set up. So if that's purely coming over from CPQ, we can just ingest that information, but we can also do an adjustment. So basically an effective date in either a new rate, a discount percent here, or if it's on a renewal basis year over year, that would be more of a midterm change. You can have a renewal uplift percentage either on an individual item or the overall contract itself. So lots of different flexibility there. We even have customers that will want to tap into a National Bureau of Data Statistics, look at things like inflation or CPI, and uplift, or probably not downlift, but uplift their customers based on the month over month or year over year inflation rate. So a lot of different things that we can do there.
Alrighty, we have a couple more, Mark. Here's a curveball for you. Which records data is the source transaction for revenue recognition?
Yeah, so that is the subscription itself. So basically we change from a sales order, we change the sales order as the source transaction to the subscription. And what that allows us to do is do an auto merge, so that anything that's changed, I feel like I keep saying this, but an upsell, a downsell, a date change, a product swap, anything that's changed on that subscription will auto merge into the existing revenue arrangement. Whereas, without zone billing, that would be a completely manual step today. So we have a lot of automation around revenue that we'd love to do a deeper dive with for whoever asked the question after this.
Yeah, great questions. Last one, I think, is, let me just double check. Can we have a bill to address on a specific line item that is different from the rest of the system?
Yep. Yeah, and that's just on this screen again, the subscription item here. So you can see that we can do either a bill to or a ship to override on the line item itself, and that will split off into a different invoice on the same subscription. So another reason that customers come to Zone for sure.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time to go through each and every one of those. Really appreciate hearing your expertise on how we've both helped clients who are interested in our solution. Thank you everybody as well for attending. We have about 9-ish minutes left. If there's any remaining questions, please do send them in and we can pick them up. I don't see any currently, but happy to stay on for about a minute or two if there's anything, and then we can close out this session with you all. And thank you so much again for all your time spent here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody.